Hey everyone, it's Melissa with the M-Word. If you're new here, I'm a homeschooling mom of 3 kiddos. I have an 8-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 2-year-old, and we are between our 4th and 5th year of homeschooling. So we've been homeschooling my oldest since she was in pre-K. My kids are now in 3rd grade, pre-K, and preschool. So today is going to be this Kumon cutting book, and I just wanted to go over this with you guys. This book is awesome. So when we had the smaller cutting books from Timberdoodle for my son, and they just started using this book. So this is the cutting book, my book of cutting. This is for ages 3, 4, and 5. My daughter is 2. However, we're doing a modified preschool with her this year because she is just progressing right along with her brother. She really just wants to be part of everything he's doing. So I'm going to be letting her do this. This does come in the complete and elite kits with the Timberdoodle, the non-religious and the religious kits. I will link the non-religious kit below, and I will link this book as well. It gets them learning to learn how to use scissors. So we actually got a pack of scissors from Amazon a while ago. Mine are dirty and gross, but they have the safety. They're full of glue. See, my kids use them all the time. They have the safety point where there's no point on them. They can't stab anybody with them. There's a blunt edge, but they are still fairly sharp for scissors. I mean, they're not as sharp as like an adult scissor would, but they are kind of sharp. And they do have this little pinch point back here, but I honestly don't know of any scissors that don't have these problems. So these are the ones we use. I like these. They cut well. We have another pair of scissors that I got that they have like a blocker here, so they can't get their finger in this spot. But those ones, I find my kids actually have trouble opening and shutting, and that makes it hard for them to cut. So this is what we have to use. I will link these below if you're in need of some safety scissors for your kids. Now this book does progress your child through more simple pieces, like directly just cutting straight lines or cutting the lines on like a puppy dog or a kitty cat's whiskers or things like that, just general straight lines. And then it slowly progresses to more difficult squares, triangles, humps on like a camel's back, or zigzags through a Z. It progresses you through, so it's harder and harder for your child, and it progressively teaches them how to control their scissors. So for whatever reason, little kids adore learning to cut. My son can cut very well now. He is 4. However, he still enjoys cutting. He often asks if he can get the scissors out and a sheet of blank paper, and he turns it into confetti. I don't know why, but it makes him so happy. So I let him. I send him to the table with a pair of scissors and a sheet of paper, and he just cuts to his little happy heart. I do really enjoy how it progresses and how well colorful it is. I also noticed that it is more of this glossy paper. It's not so hard that it's impossible to cut through for your child, but it is like a thicker paper, so it's easier for your child to manipulate the sheet of paper. So it's easier for them to grab onto, it's easier for them to hold on to it. There is also some great tips on almost every page for the parent or guardian or whoever is helping your child learn, the teacher, that gives them some useful tips on how to help your child learn that scissor control and scissor grip and how to properly use a pair of scissors. The only thing that I wish was different in this book, and this is just my own personal opinion, is right here. It says, parent or guardian, please cut along this line. I wish it was perforated. I rip them out, and sometimes it rips nice and sometimes it doesn't. I rip out the sheet so my child can do the sheet of paper without having to deal with the book getting in the way. I just rip the page straight out of the book. But I do wish it was perforated nicely to make it a little bit easier on the parent to ensure it pulled through nicely versus saying, hey, just cut here. I understand why, because a child could come through and just rip out every single page, and that would be annoying. But I do personally wish it was just perforated, so it would be easier for me to file it in. I know some people use like the filing system. I actually use some folders Monday through Friday, and I rip out the pages once a week and put them in the folder for my kids to do. So then I only am working with 1 week at a time. Other people use folders or like a filing system where they have all 36 weeks out and they put each piece in there. I personally just like to use folders, and then I have all 3 kids in one folder, And every Sunday I go in and I rip out the pages that I need for my book. But this is the Kumon cutting book. The Timberdoodle scheduler does suggest that you do 2 to 3 pages a week because there are 80 pages in here. So there are 80 pages in here, progressively, like I said, getting easier to harder, learning that scissor grip and scissor control. And of course, so you know, there is no hard rule on how to do this. So when my son was first starting, like I said, he still doesn't always necessarily follow the lines. I mean, if it's hard for your child to even get one line, don't force it. A lot of the times I will convince my son to just cut one straight line, right from the people right to the house. I will convince him to cut just the one line, and then he can do whatever he wants with the rest of the page. He can cut it into confetti, he can cut in circles, he can do whatever he wants, as long as I can get him to do one thing from the sheet. That's usually my goal. And even then, if he's really fussing me about it, I don't worry about it. I let him have the sheet of paper and cut to his glare. Because honestly, he's still learning that control of the scissors. He's still learning how to operate the scissors. He is still learning what needs to be learned. He just isn't necessarily learning how to cut on the lines. And that's okay. So I just wanted to give you that little heads up. It is okay. It's still a win. They're still learning how to do and how to control a pair of scissors and how to cut. And there is also every child's favorite thing, the certificate at the end of the book. So if you have any questions for me about the Kumon cutting book, please go ahead and leave it in the comments section below. Or if you have any questions or comments or anything like that, please go ahead and leave them below. Like I said, this was in the Timberdoodle preschool kit, so I will go ahead and link that and this book below for you. Thank you, Timberdoodle, for sending this to me. They did send this to me in exchange for my honest review. My kids adore this book. We adore Timberdoodle. We love them so much, and I really do appreciate it so very much. And of course, if you haven't already, please go ahead and like and subscribe, and I will talk to you next time.